Who's better, Maki or Naoya? I'm T-Rect and I've read the entirety of JJK, made multiple videos on it, and had many people agree with me over my takes. Today we'll solve the biggest conflict between JJK and fans and finally put an end to this fucking mess. Before we begin though, make sure to join my cool ass Discord community if you're a cool ass person, link in description. First we need to understand the main catalyst of the problem.
Maki.
Ah yes, that dubious blasphemous capricious void. Yes, she is, not Yuki, she is. Maki is in so many ways a terrible character. And some of you might say that I'm biased because I like Naoya, but no. I'm gonna decide who's better based on pure logic. Y'all Maki fans keep slandering Naoya, so I'ma fight back.
But Maki wins all right.
Let me prove you wrong. She's practically spoon-fed her power-ups by the plot. Gero didn't kill her, and Yuta saved her. She somehow lived Jogo incinerating her. So you're telling me that she almost died to Gero throwing grade 3 curses at her, but survived being burned to a crisp. She murdered the entire Zenin clan without a single scratch. Then in her first fight with Naoya, she counted the frames of his technique, which is the biggest bullshit I've ever seen, and then just turned around and one-shot him. That fight was boring as fuck on her side, and if Naoya wasn't fighting the way he did, I would have probably skipped it. Then the second fight against Naoya, she won because
She had discovered freedom.
guess how that worked? Some random sumo guy came out of nowhere and gave her a training arc mid-fight that moved 1,000 times faster than it would have in normal time, so that Kamo wouldn't die by the time she's done. Before that bullshit happened, Naoya was outspeeding both of them and even rammed into her, breaking her ribs and rupturing her organs. The way she killed him at the end did make sense, but she wouldn't have lived by then if she didn't have plot armor. Both her little Sukuna fights didn't achieve much, but Maki fans used that as an argument to say that
He kept up with Sukuna.
buddy, first time Sukuna was heavily held back by Megumi because he had just taken over him, and second time he was already heavily injured and weakened. She didn't keep up shit. You see how there's one obvious detail, that if she died in any of her fights, the story wouldn't have been able to proceed very well, so the plot would have changed. So she had armor to protect the plot. Guess what that's called? Plot armor. Number 2 is what I like to call the Tojification. What that means is that they literally turned Maki into Toji, and I'm not talking about giving her the same power as him. I'm talking they made her look just like him. Like, come on, couldn't you be more original, Gege? She's way too fucking muscular for a woman. She's soulless and shallow. Naoya literally asks her if she has a human heart, and she says no. She's got a haircut like a 10-year-old boy. She's ugly as hell with all those scars. Even the fandom displays her as the man in their relationship with Yuta later in the story. Maki's development doesn't feel entirely organic. She didn't grind for that specific peak power-up the way characters like Yuji or even Makito had to grow through suffering and evolution. You could say that she trained enough before and Mai's existence prevented her from reaching peak heavenly restriction, but it wouldn't make sense. She's literally 15 the last time we see her train. What, you're telling me between the age of 12 and 15 she amounted to Toji's probably 15 years of training? I think it would have been way cooler and would have made more sense to make Maki faster and more fluid and Toji stronger and more durable. She doesn't fit her human nature. Their roles are reversed and instead it's displayed the other way around. In no way am I saying I just want Toji to be better because he's a man and sexism and blah blah, that type of crap. My point is that it doesn't make sense. None of it does. Maki is just one deep plot hole of a character. And number 3, she is rushed. I dislike the way they made Maki's character. The reason she's so shallow is because we don't get to see much of her being human. So much goes for the peak human. We only have one scene where she cries, and it's when Mai dies. The rest of the time she's either annoyed or bland as fuck. Typical for an emotionally immature little girl. To speak about her power up as well, it didn't make sense. It's another plot hole designed to save her from certain death. You can't just tell me she got max stats after crying for her sister a little bit. Oh no, she died, whoop-de-doo, guess I'm gonna eat a power shroom and slaughter the entire Zenin clan with no effort, yippee! Yeah bro, a 16-year-old girl with little to no experience is now as strong as fucking Toji. Now let's talk about the GOAT. Naoya is my favorite misogynist. I like how in his other fight he says, "Hello, Maki." Jokes aside, he's just like Andrew Tate in a way. The shit he says is crazy, but most of it actually makes sense. I got fucking goosebumps from saying that. I know it's cringe as fuck, but hear me out. I get why he says it, I get why he hates women, and I get why he believes he should be up there with Toji and Gojo. It all makes sense. People portray him as some egotistical scumbag because they refuse to dive into his character. He isn't evil just for the sake of it. He's the absolute definition of what the Zenin clan raises. In the Jujutsu world, might makes right. Naoya was born with an OP curse technique, immense talent, and high status. What do you want? From his perspective, weakness is a sin. He saw his father Nobito rule with power. He saw Toji outclass everyone with his sheer strength. To Naoya, the traditional hierarchy isn't a bias, it's a fundamental truth of survival. If you don't have cursed energy or power like Maki in the beginning, you are useless to the sorcery world. He's just saying out loud what the entire Jujutsu Society thinks. Why I think Naoya is fundamentally better than Maki is because he has perfect narrative consistency. Naoya never fakes who he is. He's 100% honest about his worldview, his greed of the clan head position, and his obsession with becoming stronger. Naoya actually pushes his technique to the absolute limit. Projection sorcery requires frame-perfect microsecond calculations. He's a literal genius with it. When he becomes a cursed womb, he evolves, creates a domain expansion, and adapts. He works for his status as a threat, whereas Maki just walks around using Toji's hype to look tough. To me, Naoya is a masterpiece of a villain because he represents everything wrong with the Zenin clan, and he plays that role perfectly until the very end. Maki didn't defeat the Zenin clan because she was a better character, she defeated them because Gege gave her Toji's save file. Plus his technique is cool as fuck. And speaking of his technique, let's talk about how the fandom completely downplays the insane transformation he goes through, because Maki fans love to cope by saying Naoya is just a pathetic loser who couldn't accept defeat. Buddy, let's look at the facts. When Naoya got sniped by Maki's mom at the end of Perfect Preparation, the story could have ended right there, but his sheer willpower, his pure hatred, and his absolute refusal to be surpassed by people he deemed inferior was so fucking strong that he literally reincarnated as a cursed womb, bro. That isn't just being a hater, that's transcendent motivation. Difficult word, I know. And when he comes back, he doesn't just repeat the same shit. He takes projection sorcery, a technique that already required frame-perfect brain calculations, and adapts it into a cursed body that can literally accelerate past the speed of sound. He became a living Mach 3 missile. He was blitzing Maki so fucking hard that Gege literally had to invent a pocket dimension sumo match just to give her a chance to breathe. If Naoya had been given a single shred of the plot armor Maki carries in her back pocket, he would have already ended the fight in seconds. Let's talk to the Maki Glazers for a second, because their logic genuinely hurts my brain. They will sit there in my comments typing out essays about how Maki represents the liberation of the Jujutsu world, you fucking liberals, and how she has so much aura. Aura? What fucking aura? Standing in a corner, looking moody while wearing Toji's hand-me-down fucking clothes is not any aura. Maki fans try to win arguments by saying her arc is deeply emotional because of my sacrifice. But let's look at how that actually plays out in the story. Mai dies, creates a sword out of nothing, and suddenly Maki turns into John fucking Wick. There was no psychological breakdown, no long-term trauma affecting her combat capability, no actual adjustment period. It was an insta-stat multiplier. It completely destroys the stakes of the series, and why should I care about characters like Yuji or Megumi putting their blood, sweat, and tears into mastering their cursed energy when Maki can just lose a family member and instantly jump to special grade? Naoya, on the other hand, gave us a whole new different look at the entire story. He proves that the Zenin clan wasn't entirely wrong. Power is the only currency that matters in this world. He played the villain flawlessly and did it all while staying completely true to his character design. He didn't need a tragic backstory or a sudden change of character to be interesting. He was just a toxic, talented piece of shit running his environment exactly how he was supposed to. He was a bad person in some ways, but he was also misunderstood, and his character is way deeper than Maki could ever imagine to be. So when you weigh it all up, based on pure objective writing consistency, Maki is a walking plot device used to clear out the entire clan when Gege got tired of drawing them. Naoya, on the other hand, is a beautifully written top-tier antagonist who carried the hype of Sakurajima Colony entirely on his back. And yes, that is what I think. It's my first time making a script for a video, so I hope you liked it. If you want even more of this topic, check out my other two videos. Peace.